I mean, that being said,
can we talk about Chrome being the most incompetent PLL team? Can we just get it out of the way? He walked in there with the most dad khaki cargo shorts I've ever seen in my life, rocking the 407s, and he goes up there with so much just determination. He says, "Logan Wisniewski." Like, you idiot. I'm like, oh my God. I literally, James, I know we were texting about it, but I'm like, what? The only game that could get out of control is Chrome Archers, just because I obviously don't think the Chrome is
good
very
Lord. The hate for Chrome is
just through he skipped 2 games into the last game of the weekend just to come.
All right, we are live. Welcome back, everyone, to Quick Six. We are back with the boys, James and Sam, and with a recurring guest. You might remember him from his wild week 1 takes, Mr. Bryce Sneed. Bryce, welcome back.
Boys, thank you for having me back. I feel like I owe you guys one, as bad as my takes have been, and we've just fermented on them all season long, and it's just been ever since that episode, I've regretted everything I've said. So
listen, we'll take hot takes over no takes any day.
That's true. As long as, and you stuck by it, which I appreciate.
Yeah, I'll just be the Stephen A. Bring me in for the hot takes, and then I'll leave.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, so we are back. Regular season is officially over. We had some pretty dope games in Seattle, I will say. Another tight one, -1 game, but let's jump right in. First game we had was Chrome Redwoods. So I don't know if I actually remember this during the game. This was the rematch of the week 2 slaughter that we witnessed personally in Charlotte, when Chrome won 12-3, I think.
Yep,
that was bad.
The worst game I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
This one started off kind of like that. It was all Chrome in the beginning. I think he got up to 5-0. Redwoods commandeered quite a little comeback though in the second half. They tied it at 10, and then again at 11. Then it was neck and neck from there on. But Logan again was the hero of the game.
Man, he's good.
Yeah, he was involved in the last 4 goals for Chrome, actually.
Can we talk about how he puts a little English on every bouncer, which makes it so much harder to save?
Yeah.
Twists his wrists at the end, and it just makes it such an awkward bounce. It's like cut a cannon's nightmare, honestly.
Not that he was silent in the first half of the season, but it felt like at first we were all oohing and eyeing over Nick Turn, and then it just been slowly but surely Wisniewski is their guy. Nick Turn is still really good, but it just seems as of late they go to Wisniewski when they need a goal. He's not the quarterback, he doesn't play that quarterback, but he just seems to be the dominant force for the Chrome right now.
I don't think it was a slow take. I just think he missed that game and people forgot about him. I don't think it was anything slow about it. He's been consistent with points, and I heard a point that the commentators talked about where Logan and Nick Turn are now a wash for Chris Gray, stats wise. Yep. They put the stats up side by side, and it was you got 2 players, technically for the price of 1, and they're both ending up being exactly what they needed. So the Chris Gray talk we had in the beginning is just it's not even an afterthought.
Yeah, they complement each other so well. It's crazy. I mean, like you were saying, Nick Turn's the quarterback, but when they need someone to rock it or just sling one in there, Logan's right there.
Yeah.
I feel like every team has a debate on who's got the best 3 attackmen down there, especially now as they keep rotating. We keep going to more positionless lacrosse, but the Chrome, I think, could argue just with those 2 guys alone. I feel like they don't even need a third down there half the time, just because those 2 guys, what they're doing right now is just it's mind-blowing.
And what's crazy is Dylan Malloy's having a good season.
I know. I was about to say that.
But he's just used to work.
So quiet though, right? It's just all the noise is going to those other 2 guys.
Oh
yeah,
Matt. Maybe I didn't realize that the Milkman won 64% against TD.
Yeah, I was actually about to mention that. I mean, so I didn't look at the stats from week 2. I thought TD actually looked solid, but yeah, I mean the Chrome absolutely dominated the face-off, but I mean, I don't know. TD has shown this season he's not going to compete with Nardella, Baptiste, or Farrell. But I mean, I think week 2 or week 3, he was more towards the bottom of the rankings. Now I think after those 3 guys, he's the 4th best.
100%.
Yeah, like what's crazy is that like, you know, I dragged the milkman too at the beginning of the year. And part of it was because he, in that same sense, Matt, where you're talking like he was in that second tier, right? Like he wasn't competing with Nardelli, he wasn't competing with Baptiste, and he would get shell shocked in those games. But this year, I got to give the guy credit where it's due. Like he's jumped up to that next tier this year, and it's absolutely made the difference for that team.
100%. I always said he was like not only the missing link, but Bryce, you haven't been on a couple weeks, but the commentators were saying that TD is like officially healthy. And they said that 3 weeks ago. And so you have to wonder, I mean, you're a face-off guy. What does a lower body injury do? You know, to you trying to go against the best. And so did TD change what he's doing? I don't think he did. I think he's just healthy. I know Matt and I, we talked about this last time. We hate that take because we use it in football a lot, but I genuinely think he's just healthy and he's able to get the leverage and able to kind of like get to space. And I don't know.
Bryce, I have a question. Does size, like, you know, him being the size he is versus TD, which I think TD is, I can't remember how big he is.
He's average.
Okay. So does his size advantage, like, you know, even if TD might be a little faster on the neutral, you know,
on the clamp.
Thank you. Yeah. Does, you know, size, can you just bully him off kind of and still win?
Yeah, I think so. And that's why I think you know, I think the milkman's gotten a lot better with his hand speed, really. After watching obviously the entire year, I think his hand speed's got much better. But, you know, part of the reason why I dragged him in the beginning too was that I thought his ground ball chase and things like that, his ability to carry the ball after he had won it was sus at best, and that seems to be cleared up. Now he's gotten much better wing play this year to begin with, but yeah, absolutely, Sam. I mean, going against Baptiste and Farrell, like if you get boxed out, I mean, you're trying to move around a brick wall at that point. So like you got no shot. But I do think between the milkman and just TD, like I just think, you know, Farrell's just gotten so much more technical this year from the film that I've seen. And just looking at the way TD is there, like you said, I think he is healthy, but I just think overall, like I think the milkman's take the next step.
What did he do in the off season again? He started like MMA.
Oh yeah, he did like mixed martial arts stuff.
Yeah.
Hey.
I mean, it's like Baptiste. Like if you have that mix of just power and just pure strength, and then you get the speed, like it's impossible. It's why it makes it more amazing to see guys like Nardella who are not that big and still have that same type of hand speed. Like Nardella is like who I would love to be on any given day. Like I have that same body type and that same body size, and like you can win off speed, but going against those giants, dude, it's really hard to do. So yeah, I think that's part of the reason why we've seen Inacio struggle at times this year too. He's just not. He is big in like height wise, but doesn't have that muscle that those other guys do.
True, because it's not just Nardella against Inacio. It's a lot of times Inacio against Courier on the wing, or you know Nakai or whoever, you know, some of the best out of Perkovic, some of the big athletic guys who come off the wing. So it's not just the one-on-one battle, which I think the Water Dogs really play on we don't want it to be one-on-one. So
and Courier on the wing is just. Like it's unbelievable. He is a face-off guy's best friend. I tell you.
I don't think people understand how many.
No, they do not.
It's honestly kind of an insult when they're just like, "Hey, our guy on the wing's better than anybody on your face-off wing or X, and he's going to get the ball." So
yeah, I think even if you put Courier at the dot, like if you put 3 Couriers to take a face-off, I think you'd still probably go 50%.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
That's cool with that, yeah.
Okay, and like kind of back to the game, but like, dude, TD only had 5 ground balls.
Yeah,
that's kind of crazy.
I was more impressed that they were able to hold the chrome as well as they did without Glazner, right? I mean, we can't stress that enough, how big of a loss that is for the Woods in general. But like being able to hang in there with them, and obviously RP3 just absolutely dominated on the opposite end. But without Glazner in there, I really thought that game could have gotten away from the Woods early. But hats off to that defense for hanging in there and doing as well as they did against arguably one of the best teams in the league.
Agreed. And I guess, Matt, I wanted to kind of bring this up. We texted about it, but I still have JT as my possible best defender in the league, maybe defender of the year, but Rob Pennell embarrassed him bad.
Yeah.
it was kind of like a welcome to the league kind of thing. Like it just like Pinnell was just having his way.
On the top side, he had an inside roll where he shook him off, and there's multiple times when Rob would see the shot clock's at 10, he'd go get the ball. And as a defender, like that's not supposed to be the thought of your attackman, you know. So it was just weird seeing Rob not only play,
and Rob's got such a high IQ in the game, I feel like, and he probably doesn't have a defender that young on him who's essentially, I mean, this is JT's rookie season.
Right, he's a rookie. I can.
So it's like he's used to having the older veteran guys like Graham Hossack or Epple.
Yeah.
I just think his IQ is so much farther ahead of most people that he's like, I know what this rookie's gonna do and I know how to get around it.
Yeah, people don't understand the importance of angles behind the cage. It doesn't matter your size. If you play those angles right. I mean, dude, Billy Bitter used to, make Clint Clausen fall over the cage just because he was that small and played angles. So I still think JT's that guy. I just think this is kind of
he'll be fine.
Play against a veteran and you realize like there's still another tier to this game. I can be athletic as hell. I can have a great stick, but Rob played the angles better and he beat him almost every time.
When they went down early, RP was just like, all right, I got this.
I gotta get the ball.
He literally just like Greg Jennings put the team on his back though. Like,
I mean, and
he literally brought them back in that game so that it was competitive after the first quarter. Like otherwise that game could have gotten ugly very quickly.
And in JT's defense, we are in the middle of a Rob Pinnell hot streak right now.
Very hot.
Yeah.
Like Rob Pinnell has come back with thunderous efforts the last couple of weeks. So I mean, I don't blame JT too much, but yeah, Rob definitely got the best of him. There's no doubt about that.
And let's do this last point, and then move on to the next one. What do you guys think is going on with Jules Henneberg?
No idea, dude. He just.
I was trying to figure out last game. I was watching all their offensive stats. I just pulled up his stats. He had 4 shots. He had 1 assist, which I think was late in the game. But he had 0%, and I don't even know his stats on the year, dude. I forget he's on the field at this point.
I haven't heard his name in like 3 games.
Yeah.
Is he like? I know he's playing guys like obviously, and he had the health issues last year. Is he really healthy? Like, did he? Like, is he dealing with stuff like behind the curtains that we don't like? That's the only thing I can think of because last year he was or the year before he was dominant.
Yeah.
And he missed, and then ever since then, like this entire year, it's just been like, wait, they have Jules Henneberg still? Like, where is he? I'm sorry, I don't see
the end line. I'm like, who's 7?
Yeah.
No, I mean, Bryce, for these guys who are this good to take that big of a drop, my first thing is always health. Because they obviously still have it there, but it could be more than that. It could be him trying to find his place on the team, and furthermore, at the end of the day, I want Charlie Bertrand with the ball before I want Jules right now, and that's an insult.
There's a few guys you want in the ball in their stick. Pinnell, Matt Cavanaugh.
You know what I mean? And Cavanaugh's not even having a great year either.
No, but he's
really low.
Been playing better.
I don't know, man. I think, and Bryce, I'm assuming you watched the game, but I feel like the Redwoods ride like UVA rides in college.
You could tell like they were getting after it too because it was like, and I don't know if they saw something in film, but I agree. It's like they weren't, all in the PLL. Like it's very little of a ride that you see, but it was something snapped for the Woods, and I don't know if it was just like, all right, F this, like let's go get this win. Like that's another easy thing we can do, but like they were attacking in the ride. They were attacking the ride.
It's wild to think, they lost by 1, but still, I mean, that ride in itself created a goal. Yeah. So like, what is that going to do in the playoffs, right? Mm-hmm. Like that one ride, a rider gets the ball back, maybe it ends up a turnover or whatever, but I don't know. Could be the difference.
What last thing I want to say is Scanoni played out. I mean, the entire year. Like I don't like when I saw him, I'm like, who's this guy? Like I don't know how it's going to be, but literally hats off to that guy. He has literally kept Chrome in some of the games this year, going from a no-name guy to I think he's the starter moving forward.
I mean, 1 year ago, the Chrome were in a true goalie competition between him and Nick Washuta.
Right.
And like Nick could have very easily won that starting job, and you would have had Scanoni on the bench this whole season.
Mm-hmm.
Still think some of the best outlets, and I don't think the guy's given up a near side goal all season.
Yeah.
And honestly, I have to wonder how much is that of like Logan in practice, because Logan loves the near side, but he loves pulling shit near side. So I don't know, maybe it's that, but no, Scanoni, huge hats off, 54%, and Jack Kelly didn't look great. So I don't know. We'll see. Good game though. Great game.
Yeah. So Chrome get the win in Seattle and lock up the 2 seed. Redwoods take the L here, but they do make the playoffs. So you're 6 seed. Next game we had, boy, we can just touch on this one if we want. It was Archer's Water Dogs.
broadcast.
We actually watched this game together.
Did?
Welcome back to the PLL, Mr. Grant Ament.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, at least on the assist side.
Yeah.
He seems to be getting like just absolutely popped at least once a game now, though. Like I don't know if that's like in the game plan now that guys are like, all right, like let's go rattle his cage at least once a game. But man, is he taking some brutal hits?
I don't hate it.
I mean, I feel like that's have you play guys like Sowers and Amen. It's like when you get in here, we're gonna put you down because they know that he's gonna get there.
Yeah,
and it makes them hesitate or doesn't take that golden step, as my coach called it, upfield because.
I still like watching these games like with the Archers, and you guys know I'm an Archers fan. Like I just like want to pull my hair out at times because just as much talent as they have, it just seems so unorganized. It seems like such men's league ball at times where it's like, all right, give it to the couple of guys and let them go. And then I do think putting Fields down there, and nothing against Manny or Ryan Brown, but like putting Fields down there just makes them much more of a dynamic team. Like however you feel that you want to put that. And then adding Matt Moore, which he's played right into that role that he was supposed to be, the attack committee all year long. But I just it's frustrating to watch their offense at times because it just seems unorganized. Like they don't truly know. Like they're all just sitting there watching one guy try and go make a play, and it's stagnant at times. If you ask me.
It kind of seems like they let the hot hand go. Mm-hmm. So like if Matt Moore's the hot hand that day, he gets to do all the dodging, but then like Connor Fields this game was the guy. But it works sometimes. I don't think it will work in the playoffs, but it does work sometimes. And Connor Fields looked really good. Like like as far as the short stick matchup, I mean that was a nightmare.
And I know they flirted like with putting him in as a midi or putting him in as an attackman, but like I do think he just naturally plays better as an attackman. I just think it's more natural to him, but I don't know. It's like I said, I still feel like they're the Saints in the NFL. Like they'll make playoffs, but
it will.
After that, it's like
we'll find out.
Someone might have their number. So I don't know. It's frustrating. So frustrating. Even comes down to like Gittleman. He'll make a great save and then he'll give one up. And it's just like, it just seems like that is who the Archers are, at least right now.
He was super inconsistent. It's been super strange seeing this like trail off of Will Manny.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was in MVP talks the first 3 weeks of the season, easy MVP talks.
I just think like it comes down to like, and this is where like the PLL and like the future of lacrosse is going. If you can't expose one of those two shorties, like, or both of those shorties that are on the field, what can you do? Manny was getting the shorty every single time. He's not going to dodge on him. So how do you truly draw a slide? And that's what it seems like teams are doing against the Archers, is saying, all right, we're going to slide to everyone but the two guys who are going to get the shorties. Yep. And other than that, we're just going to let them go. If they beat the shorty, beat the shorty. But it seems like all of the D middies in the league are obviously good enough to take care of whoever they designate on that given week.
Sure.
So it's just like, especially if it's Manny. Like Manny's a great off-ball attackman, but he's not a dodger. And I feel like that's where the Archers are keep getting to at this point. All those top dogs are going to get the pole. You gotta expose their two shorties.
Yeah, it makes the league that much harder that you can be so dominant in college, but like you just don't have a place in the PLL.
Mm-hmm. And it's crazy, right?
And
like
that's
thought we'd have that conversation.
Right? And that's one of the Water Dogs' strengths. I mean, Matt Witcher is one of the better SSDMs in the league. So I mean,
for sure,
I think that was kind of played into the Water Dogs' strength a little bit, but yeah, I don't know. I feel the same way about the Water Dogs as you do with the Archers. I thought their offense was very sloppy in this one. A lot of missed shots, a lot of bad possessions, but they had 22 turnovers, which is never going to win a game. But
that's why I felt like the Archers didn't necessarily win. I felt like the Dogs kind of lost that game. Like
absolutely. I mean, but you give up 16 goals, you're going to lose every time.
Yeah.
But I mean, thank God for Kieran McCardle, because that dude is the lifeblood of this offense as far as ball movement and dishing. But
Drenner too. It's been,
yeah, that's true.
It's just
but,
last year he was, dominant. I mean, this year it's just kind of, he blends in.
Yeah, but the Archers scare me, man. This offense is so deep.
Yeah.
Every week you guys have like 6 or 7 different goal scorers.
But again, it's kind of wild how accurate Bryce's analogy is, because like the Saints team can put 40 on your head. Because like they have shoulder weapons on offense, but they just don't put it together late in the playoffs.
Mhm.
Like all these weapons just, you know.
I know we'll get to it, but like, you know, obviously against the Woods, like that very well could go to the Woods. After seeing them play, like if they go after that ride again, like it could go to the Woods, hands down. I think the Archers are hands down the better team.
Yeah.
But especially if they expose the goalie play for the Woods right now.
Yeah. The Woods have the offense.
I don't have confidence going into that game. I will say that.
I think the chink in your armor is Inacio.
Yeah. I had high hopes and I'm hoping that like rookie year. I mean, obviously we proved it last year with TD, right? But like it's just hard. It's hard to be a rookie faceoff guy. It's like you got to put on the weight, and we'll see if he can, you know, do kind of like the Stephen Kelly, Joe Nardella kind of deal where he relies more on his speed than he does the physical strength that Baptiste or Farrell have. But I think doing that will definitely help them moving forward next year. But at least right now, I mean, they got to rally around the guy and just have some more consistent play.
Facts. I'm also wondering, Bryce, like how different it might be for some of these college guys coming to the PLL as far as like the turnaround, the amount of goals scored, and how quick they are.
So that's what I noticed too about Inacio is that he seems, obviously in the college, they're stand-up, they're SNG, but Inacio seems to be going down on a knee, and he seems like he is having more success with it down on a knee than he is going standing neutral. So I think that's something to watch as well. I think with, you know, Sam, like we talked about earlier, like not having that physical strength and size, it's low man to the ball. It's, you know, it's you got to get down underneath there. So if you're going against SNG, you almost have to go down on a knee if you're going to be smaller or more lean to just try and get to the ball quicker than it would be, you know, using your pure strength to get there.
That's true. I think that exact kind of like meticulous thought is why the regular season and the playoffs are two different seasons. Because if I'm in the playoffs, I'm a face-off guy. I'm watching one guy's tape for this entire 2-week period. I'm finding out everything he does, and then I can like play against that, which is why I get so upset when people are like, "Oh, this didn't happen in regular season." It's like it's not the regular season anymore. They don't have another game next week yet.
Right.
Like it's
every draw counts, right? I mean, every ground ball counts.
There's a coach who's just looking at face-off. There's a guy who's even looking at where these guys like to shoot at certain places. Like those meticulous ideas and thoughts are brought up in the playoffs, which exposes tiny issues, quote unquote. So it's a different world. But this was an awesome game. It was great because me, Sam, and Matt were together to watch it. But I don't know. Watching the Archers get hot is kind of scary. And
we also took the over and big fat winner there.
Wow, big winner there. That was huge. And
Nice.
As a lacrosse player, I do not understand how Matt Moore gets off this like push off shot thing. I mean, dude, the guy's in his he's in his hands. Like
Who had the better BTB, Fields or Nolting this week?
Nolting.
Yeah, Nolting.
Fields is pretty nice, but
Fields was sick.
Nolting painted that corner. Oh my god, that was so beautiful.
It was so
Nolting
cool.
It looked so
way too
Miles-esque. It literally was like he's been practicing from Miles. Like it was like that you learned that.
You know what? That's exactly what it looked like. I hope they have some like side by side of like all his goals this season. But.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good segue. So we'll move on. So Archers get the win. They are your 3 seed in the playoffs. Water Dogs take the L. Nothing changed. They dropped it.
What was the Archers' final record at the end of the regular season?
5-5.
Wow. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
6-4.
So, wait, what?
6-4. I was looking
Water
at it.
Dogs?
No. Sorry, Archers.
Oh, I thought you said Water Dogs.
No. Water Dogs are 5-5 and Archers are 6-4.
Yeah.
Archers and Atlas are both 6-4. Yeah.
Or
Water
6-4.
Dogs 5-5.
Wow. That's okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
You're good. So flipping to was that Sunday? It was Sunday.
Yeah.
We just talked about it. Whipsnakes Cannons. Story of this one: Colin Kirst, first career start in the PLL, which I thought was pretty good. I thought it was kind of messed up. You throw that damn kid out there against the Whipsnakes.
That's what I'm saying. Man.
Last game of the season.
We talked about it. Like we thought that was going to happen.
We did. I think it should have happened weeks ago, but
Facts.
He played well. I mean,
he looked good, man.
did.
He looked really. He was seeing.
I think you got to go with it moving forward. I mean, you give the kid a chance.
100%.
Yeah. This game broke a lot of hearts. This looked all cannons in the first half up until about 3 minutes. And then reality set back in.
Well,
And I was
Rambo got to the sideline in that huddle, and he was like, "F this, F that, F this."
Yeah, like,
I was
Dags
watching.
was just
I
like,
was, I was on
That's
I was
all it
on
took.
Lax Twitter the entire game, and everybody was just like, "Holy shit, the Cannons are gonna do this!" And I was like,
No,
"Dude,
they're not.
it's the Whip Snakes.
No, they're not.
Stop it."
Jinx.
No, they're not. I
They
think
came
what
storming
this
back.
game proved for me, and Matt, we've been talking about this like the last couple of weeks. 2-point goals can negate a lot of bad mistakes.
Thank you.
So like I feel like a lot of the Whips, and I went back and looked at some of their games, they had some like the Warriors-esque games where they have 20, 25 turnovers, but they shoot 37% from three, so it doesn't matter. Without these two-pointers, Whipsnakes lose this game.
Yeah, they do.
They absolutely huge. So like those can actually cancel out so many mistakes because you're down.
Well, and I actually meant to mention we were talking Archer's Water Dogs because Archer's had no 2-pointers, or sorry, Water Dogs had no 2-pointers.
Yeah.
And I was like, that cannot happen. When you have that much talent that can shoot from deep,
That's true.
you need to have at least 1 2-pointer every.
You got to pull one. You got to.
It's the same thing with the Whip Snakes.
Think of the momentum change too. Like a 2-pointer at any point in the game, just get your offense going.
It's not a coincidence that Cannons have the lowest number of 2-pointers in the league.
It's like Sam. It's like a dunk, right? Like it really can change. It's like an alley.
Right? It gets a sideline going.
Barry's one, and then that's it. That's all.
Because the Cannon shot 23%, the Whip Snakes shot 20%. I mean, ground balls were in Whip Snakes' favor, cost turnovers, like that. All the stats are all over the place. The only one that stands out is 2-pointers. I mean, it's a world of a difference.
Yeah, I get this game had playoff implications for the Cannons, but it's like, come on, can we let the Cannons end on a high note here? Like,
wait, hold up. No, I didn't want that because as soon as
I mean, as a Chaos fan, of course not.
Right,
but I just felt bad. This game also ripped the hearts out of anyone who took Whip Snakes -2.5. It won by 2, so you got screwed either way. But
so this is great. So Matt, let's have the same conversation we had during the game about MVP Lyle Thompson. Can Lyle Thompson be the MVP of the league, even though his team's not in the playoffs? Sam, go first.
I don't think so. No.
Wowzers, Bryce.
No.
Wow, Matthew.
So we talked about this with our friend Mark.
We did.
Mark brought up a good point. It depends on what your definition of MVP is.
Oh my God, I cannot believe we're doing this.
You opened this
LeBron conversation?
No, it's not LeBron. It's not. It's the definition in my book of MVP.
Yes.
Is who helps their team with the best chance of winning in the entire league.
Oh, okay.
So to me, that can't be Lyle Thompson. Like, so what's the flip side of that? If the Cannons didn't have Lyle Thompson, they would have been 0-10 instead of 1-9.
I mean, we don't have much margin there with them having one game.
Well, so that's what I'm saying.
Right.
They had Lyle all season except for
so just so we're clear, the MVP has nothing to do with who's the best player in the league.
Well, so again, typically the best player in the league helps your team get the best chance of winning.
But my question is the exact same. MVP has nothing to do with who is the best player in the league.
No, I think most valuable is who helped their team win games the most.
Yeah.
Okay. And that is Kyle Bernlor, Trevor Baptiste, those guys.
Okay, so when we're talking about MVP for the PLL, we are not talking about who's the best player in the league.
No.
Who's helping their team the most in the league.
Yeah, that's
the most valuable player in my book.
Okay.
What about you? What's your answer?
My answer is absolutely he can be MVP.
Okay.
Absolutely. No question.
He might still be.
I mean, he's not going to because, like I said, we're going to make the MVP talk in this league just like the NBA, where you have to like break out the whiteboard behind Charlie, like to explain this. Like, okay, so is the best player in the league? Well, no. Is it the player with the best stats? No. Is it the best player on the best team? No. It's the best player on a team that helps their team the most. Do you see how convoluted that is?
Right, but so look at who was in the running for MVP in the NBA.
Okay.
Were any of those guys not in the playoffs?
No, but like this is my exact issue that we have made the MVP talk for NBA so convoluted that we omit obvious things. Because Blaze got MVP, but like during the season, I guess he wouldn't be allowed to because their team wasn't doing good enough, correct?
Well, but the reason they were that good is because of.
But that was only at the end. That was when we won. I'm saying throughout the season, there's no way he can be MVP. We only won 2 games.
Well, no, and that's why I think MVP should be determined after the Is it determined after the championship?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It has
fair because you should take playoffs into account for that.
You absolutely should, yeah.
So then we should have a separate award for who is the best player in the league.
I think so. I think that would help clear the waters of this argument
because then there's 2 years then that Matt Rambo shouldn't have been in MVP because he could have been taken off the whipsticks. They still could have won. That's a fact.
But so we just talked about Will Manny. Started off the season, 3/4 of the season was by far the best player because he had the most points.
Sure.
He's kind of on the downturn right now. So if the first round of the playoffs, he has 0 points, goes 0 for 6 shooting, Archers lose, he's not the MVP. He didn't help his team win.
Right. And I would never disagree with
right.
that.
So that's what I'm saying is like if you play great 3/4 of the season and then you kind of take a dip the last quarter of the season and you go into the playoffs and lay an egg, someone else is MVP in my book. Because someone else has played well the entire season, and probably stepped up their game in the playoffs.
Right. No. So I could agree with that. It's just hard to hear that somebody can do that and then lose, and then they are not then the MVP, regardless of how they play.
I think that's right in my book. But I will say, if Lyle Thompson gets MVP, I'm not going to be upset because he's Lyle Thompson. But if I were voting, I would pick someone besides Lyle.
Yeah. I mean, I have other guys that I have in my conversation. I just think Lyle should be omitted because he's out of the playoffs. I think that's stupid.
If they were 500, I'd say yes. But dude, they're 1-9.
No question.
I mean, can we? Okay, sorry.
Question. Just going off how we define MVP right here, right? Best player helping the team with the best chance. Who would you say?
As of right now?
Yeah.
I mean, probably Bernlohr.
Bernlohr or Baptiste.
Because Bernlohr was not keeping them in games. Like they only won games earlier this season because of him.
Yep.
Because Rambo wasn't there, because Zed wasn't there. I mean, nobody was playing well. And you look at the stats, and we did this every week. We look at the stats, we're like, Whipsnake should lose this game.
Yeah, Whipsnake's offense was gross on paper.
61%. That's the difference. He kept them literally getting a first round bye. They get a first round bye because of Bernlohr. So yeah, he would be my guy. But to be clear, if Bernlohr was playing this well for a team that wasn't doing nearly as well, he'd still be my MVP because he's playing that well for his team. So this is what I'm saying. I don't want it to become convoluted, but that was a good.
I mean, but I do. It is good for the league overall when it does become convoluted because then it's a fun conversation. It's always a fun conversation.
Yeah, there's a lot behind.
I would say Nick Turn is also up there for his play this year in terms of keeping the Chrome in those high profile games. MVP? And I think,
MVP Nick Turn?
He's in the conversation.
I mean, I think he's a lock for rookie of the year, but I don't know about MVP.
But I think in the way we are defining it, he is giving the Chrome a very good chance of winning games because
I think Scanoni would get it over him.
So Lyle leads the league in points with 44. Then second is Keenan McCardell with 42. Pinnell.
Wow. You want to talk about a guy who deserves MVP?
Yeah. Pinnell and T. Pinnell, T, and Nick Turn are all tied for 38 after that. So it's 44, 42, and then 3 guys at 38 total.
Yeah, Nick Turn's on my.
So like my point now is at the end of the year, including playoffs, like Kieran McCardell's probably going to be ahead of Lyle in points.
Mm-hmm.
So then Lyle's definitely not it.
It says Keenan McCardell has a 69% shots on goal. That is just impressive.
What?
Yeah.
That's not fair.
Yeah, that's not fair.
It's not fair. What?
No.
We're 5-5.
This guy's about to get Hanley next year. He's talking about fair.
Yeah, shut the fuck up.
Get out of here.
The cannons, bro.
19 goals, 23 assists.
Bubba Fairman, right?
My God.
That might, yeah. So I'm going to take Bryce's hot take, his rant on the Chrome from week 1. And I'm just going to ad-lib the Cannon. Can we talk about how freaking dumb the Cannons are? Their first round pick.
Their coach has
Bubba Fairman. And it has now turned,
yes.
It's now the number 1 overall pick, which is Sam Hanley, is going to be on the Atlas next year. That is, I might not even watch the field.
I think what's more bananas is they didn't use Bubba that much until the end of the season.
Yeah.
Gave up all that, then hardly used it.
I don't hate the Bubba pick. I hated trading up to get him. It was so stupid.
Yeah.
He still would have been there.
It wasn't like Jack Hanna, Brendan Curry, all those other Matt Moore wasn't on, but those guys were still available when they took Bubba Fairman, which was will always blow my mind.
Yeah, it was dumb.
I mean, and also Matt, it was great to see Asher play like old Asher.
Yeah,
Right?
It was.
Obviously the behind the back we talked about, but he was beating his guy top side.
that's what, like I was my question is like if you're the Cannons,
yeah, we need to talk about this.
What's your area of focus going into next year?
I keep hearing the Twitter talk of trying to put a package together for Lyle.
Who would do it though?
So you create
Somebody would.
I would love to see what that package looks like.
I mean,
Pause.
we're talking like pause. Oh my god, we're talking like. I mean, I don't know, man.
You're talking multiple first round picks.
Like you might have to give them Kevin Durant, not someone like Kevin Durant. Like actually,
can you imagine? Kevin Durant signs with the Whip Snakes.
Wow. I mean, didn't he just invest in the PLL? He was the latest investor.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the last big one.
Yeah.
I think to answer your question, Bryce, I think you go with Colin Kirsten net. You get if Morocco wants to stay on as the backup, fine. If not, ship him out. But dude, the focus has to be getting some help for Jake Pulver on defense.
You guys need
has to be
good pulls.
Yeah,
it has to be.
So Matt, some of those guys who end up going back to college, like if I'm the Cannons, that's who I'm looking at. Like remember all those defenders we had on the list, and some of them didn't end up, or I think 2 or 3 of them went back. Dude, I think that's the list I'm taking from of guys because you don't need just pulls. You need athletic guys that can cover up top and behind the cage.
Yeah,
that's what's so frustrating too. Is like you said, it's like they're gonna do all this and then they're gonna not have a first round draft pick. It's just like what? Yeah.
Have we seen an actual like response like from?
We'll give it back for Kyle or Lyle.
Yeah.
If I see that on Twitter, I'll talk to Paul.
That would be my question. Is like who actually would try and go get Lyle? Who would go try and get that guy?
But I think.
Well, I mean, everyone would look into it until you see what you'd have to give up.
Yeah, man. Because then, like, I want to throw out the chaos, but I'm like, we'd have to literally give up Jack Rowlett. He'd have to be a part of that package, and that's not.
You have to give up like Blaze.
Yeah, that'd be fair.
Jared, I mean, you got to think it's probably defenseman, so maybe Jared Newman.
Yeah, but like I'm not doing what a lot of teams, I mean, NBA and NFL combined, is giving up those important assets to get the asset, and then you realize late in the playoffs that you needed those guys.
Yeah,
I don't want to get into that. So many teams.
Woods? Would the Woods do it?
I was gonna say the Woods might be the only other team that needs him.
God,
anyone
Lyle on 2 sides. I mean, we're getting highlight.
If the Woods manage to make a run here in the playoffs and they hold their own without Glazner, could you argue that's what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, they drafted Arden Cohen, who's looking pretty damn close to
that's what I'm saying. So like,
Cohen look good.
Would you just say, all right, Eddie, thanks for everything you've done? Like,
no,
add Lyle with RP and Garnsey. Woo!
It would also be so weird to see Lyle in a Redwoods uniform.
Yeah.
So weird.
Dude, package
I feel like
they
worked so hard to make this roster work this year. To ship people off would be stupid.
Yeah, that's true.
5 or 6 games, because I remember being on this podcast talking so poorly about a lot of things Redwoods were doing, and they turned a lot of that around. And to get to the end of the season, ship people off. I think
it's a good point, but
they did all that, and arguably still, if they make a first round exit, you could argue that it still didn't work, right?
I do not agree with that.
You don't think so?
I don't, because
well, not playing the Archers now.
Our issue was that their offense wasn't performing, and then their offense did. They started putting up 11 goals, 13 goals. Like, I kept hearing about how Miles wasn't playing well, and yet Miles had a huge 2-pointer this week.
Yeah, he did.
Nakai has been a perfect fit as this defensive, also bringing down the ball for fast breaks. So no, I wouldn't say it didn't work because of the first round exit. Because they fixed it. It was TD and offense. TD figured it out, and so did their offense. And Rob Pennell looks like old Rob Pennell. So no, I don't think we can do it. So
yeah, but they can still use Lyle.
That's true. All right, let's hit the last game.
Conversation now.
You know what? I'm going to flip this over to you and Sam here for a little Atlas Chaos conversation. So, all you gentlemen.
Yeah, I didn't watch the game. I was busy.
I mean, it was It wasn't that close, man. We had it. It was
a 1-goal game.
What are you talking about?
Very
By the way, Sam got on this podcast before we started recording and said, dude, we got to talk about my picks. I went 4-0 this week. Homeboy didn't realize we took the spreads and not just money line. He went 0 for 4 this week.
You did. Okay. That's not the same thing.
That's what
Dude, that's Sam analytics right there. That's Sam analytics.
About how this game wasn't close, even though you took Atlas -1.5 and lost.
Yikes.
We still won though. So.
Yeah, we're aware. Anyway, Sam, can you go?
Sure. Very fun game after a long day of driving back from Raleigh. I was glad to see Baptiste perform a little bit better and win the face-off battle. But dude, I forget how good Adler was, or is rather. Yeah. I guess he was injured or somewhere early in the season. So I know he just like came back recently, right? Like a few games ago. I'm not sure what happened, but the face-off battle was good. I thought Concannon played pretty well. I was pleased to see him make a few awesome saves, especially at the end. And it just gave me a good, confident feeling going into next week for the first round. And I thought our turnover game wasn't that bad compared to a few weeks ago. And other than that, like offense didn't like put up the goals that we're used to, but I think this was a battle through and through, and it had huge playoff implications. So I expected it to be a game like that, to be honest. And yeah, we got the dub, but dude, it came in. What was the time when we scored? It was like I forget. It was like 45 seconds, something like that.
Minute 30.
Minute 30. Thank you. Yeah.
All right, so and I hate that I have to be a Chaos fan to say this, but like the penalties in this game were outrageous. Like I would say 2 of them were definitely fair, but the other 3, I mean, that was a lot. I mean, we had 5 penalties, and that absolutely that killed all our momentum. And you can't give a team like the Atlas that many penalties. You can't. You guys were man up for all of like 6 minutes, I think, dude. Like. That was, and you guys saw like Towers losing his mind just because like I thought 2 of them were super close.
I'm forgetting what they were.
So there was 2 pushes. They called a slash that kind of just got it because the attackman reacted, that kind of thing. But the push with possession calls were just like, I mean, Bryce knows how lenient they are in this league. Like they let a lot go. They let a lot of slashes go, a lot of pushes go, and for us to be winning right before half. And then we gave up 2 penalties in the last 3 minutes of half. And then you guys tied the game up.
That's a wrap.
Yeah, right. So
says here Chaos had 4.5 minutes of penalties. Atlas had 5.
Yeah.
Atlas were 3 of 5 on the power play, and the Chaos were 2 of 4. So both teams were pretty successful.
Wow, yeah, that's actually really good.
I mean, we have been. I mean, because you got to think the power play is our same offense. Righties, lefties, side, that kind of thing. But Matt, we talked about last time how I was pissed that the Chaos kind of lost their effort, especially late in the game. They had the effort this game. It was just bonehead plays. There was 2 times where like we were about to get a fast break and we went off sides. There was one time where we finally got a man up and we throw the ball to Mac O'Keefe and he just drops it. Ball goes out of bounds. They go down and kill our penalty. It's like when you are fighting to try to beat a good team like Atlas, you cannot do those things. They cannot happen. So I mean, listening to their interviews, I feel like they're kind of sitting on this whole like, oh yeah, we're gonna get it someday. We're gonna get it someday, and we're here. The regular season's over. Playoffs are hitting us. But Blaze played really well, which was really nice to see. But I really wanted to get a dub before going to the playoffs. I really did. Like I thought that would have been big. So this was a dagger for me. But
I do think, like, I agree with both you guys, but I do think, James, this, like the Chaos is just one of those teams where they could play the Chrome and just show up. And then that's all it takes. Like, they just got to show up for one day, put it all together, and they could look like the best team in the league. And that's what's the most scary about the Chaos this year is like they got that trash record, but man, all it takes is one given day.
The Chaos have the playoff experience. Chrome don't.
Right.
So you're gonna have some jitters on the Chrome at first.
Good point. And Bryce, I kind of wish you would have said that to me like a couple weeks ago, because I was trying to put it into words how I feel, but that's why it's hard to lose hope. Because like they can one day just face off starts and we put up 13 goals, Blaze plays out of his mind and we win.
I feel like it's the same way as like the Archers, right? It's just like one day, like the Archers are like, holy shit, this is the best team in the league. Like who could stop this team on offense? And it just feels like the Chaos, like obviously I feel like the Atlas are way more well balanced. Like you know what you're gonna get from the Atlas. They're super consistent. And like that's how they win games. But James, I feel like both you and I live and die by the sword at this point. Like one day they might show up, the next they won't, and you live.
Like, remember that game the Archers put up like they went on like an 8-0 run or whatever, like a 7-0 run to that game. Like I was like, nobody can stop this offense. And like fast forward 2 weeks, I'm like, Archers might not make the play. You know,
like I feel like the Archers and the Chaos both have the ability to make a defense just stand around like,
what do we do?
I don't know what to do.
I mean, I think I guess the silver lining we'll say is, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but Challen Rogers for us has been, I mean, just really good. He had 3 points this game, which was massive, but it was little things that were like daggers. I don't know if you guys remember Josh Burns' absolute rip. Every time that ball hits the crossbar and it goes down into the goal. Of course, the one time he hit it out of the goal. It's just like those little breaks that
he took 11 shots. Wow.
Yeah. But I know it's hard. I saw Chase Frazier, no pun intended, but chasing out shots again, which I know somebody told him that he didn't do that last game because he was going out of his way to try to win end line runs, which is huge. But I don't know. I really don't know what this team could bring to the next game, but this was a really good game. I guess I'm glad we got a little bit of a wake-up call, but we'll see. I literally don't know what team's going to the playoffs, but Blaze looks good. Blaze looks good, so we'll see.
And it's another week of Trevor Baptiste winning 70% of the face-off.
Yeah.
And Atlas cannot get a lead.
I have realized they turn the ball early, they turn the ball over early a lot in their possessions. So sometimes that stat gets skewed because Trevor will get it to an attack man. That guy gets the ball taken away. It's still a win.
Yeah. Well, and that's my point is like the Atlas have the most turnovers in the league. They're tied for the first.
Yep.
So that just shows like you have the number one faceoff guy by a mile, but you also have the most turnovers. So it's like, can you imagine a game where Trevor doesn't win 70%? They're going to get blown out.
It's scary.
They got to fix this offense.
We're just sloppy at midfield right now.
Yeah,
that's fair. I think that Clark Pedersen, I guess you say it Pedersen, I feel like people don't realize how big of an asset that's going to be moving forward because he played with Teat in college. And, to kind of have that knowledge and to just come in the game and, have a casual 2 points, because this was like his first or second game. Like that was big. And Romar's been hit or miss like he is every year. So you never know what you're going to get with him.
Yeah. Romar's a wild card.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's either the corner or it's going to be in the parking lot. And
or he's killed somebody.
Oh, it's that corner. Ooh.
That's the corner. It's the highlight of the week.
Yeah,
that's right.
Did we have a wager on this game? Between you two?
I don't see why we wouldn't know, but I don't.
I forget what it was, but I think we did.
Yeah, I put 15 on it. That's right. We talked about this. I put 15 on it.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you better make a PayPal account. I'm not even gonna Venmo it to you.
All right. Well, that wraps up the games in Seattle. So we are officially in PLL postseason mode. Bryce, how cool is this trophy? Have you seen it?
Yeah. It's like, we talked about it a little bit before. I don't know if you guys have seen the previous year's PLL trophy.
Yeah.
Not good. not good. It just looks weird. It's so crystal or glass, whatever. It's just so see-through. It's just like what is this thing? But the new trophy, dude, I would be proud to hold that new trophy. That thing is sick. And there's a bunch of pictures out and I love the details of the actual lacrosse head. And it looks like that part is kind of like removable, kind of like how like the college football playoff trophy kind of removes from its stand. It looks really cool, and they show a lot of like really in detail pictures of it and the cross stitching. Like it looks like a legit Iroquois Nation like stitched head. It is sick.
Wow.
It's like that's the only gold piece of it. So it just like sticks, it just grabs your eye right off the start. So so much better. I don't know whose idea it was to change the trophy, but much needed. It's like, and they did a service because they still have all the MLL champion names on there. Like
that's cool.
What year.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, but like, so the trophy's so much better. So much better.
That's amazing.
I saw someone on Twitter said it looked like the eye of Sauron from Lord of the Rings, and when you see the side by side, you can't see it.
Wow, that's actually accurate.
Yeah, I was looking at the tweet. I was on PLL Twitter, and I was looking at the tweet, and Stags' daughter literally tweeted or quote tweeted it. It says, "Oh, this is so beautiful! Can't wait for it to be sitting in our living room." I was like, yo,
talk about a jinx. Oh,
I was gonna say, someone better be knocking on wood.
I'm a coach. I'm printing out that tweet and I'm putting it in the locker.
That's clipboard material right there.
I'm putting it on every locker. I'm putting that tweet on.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can't imagine Stags was okay with that.
Yeah. Very ballsy. All
right, let's get into these picks. I'm super curious.
Real quick, let's go around just real brief.
Yep.
One player you expect to break out in the playoffs. Sam, I'll start with you.
Brian Costabile. And reason is because he has had probably last 3 games he's had few maybe 2 points. It's lowest game. I think he's one of our strongest dodging midfielders, and his ability to both cut towards in the goal and score that 2-pointer, because he has that shot from outside. I think he's one of those weapons that will get hot for us when we need him, because like I said earlier, like our midfield is kind of all over the place right now. Like we have a solid 3 attackmen that you can always rely on, and then every week we're like, oh, is Dennis going to go off? There's all these guys. But I think Costabile last few weeks has proven he's that guy you can rely on. He got us a huge 2-pointer in the game against Chaos. So I think of anybody on the Atlas or in general in the playoffs, I think he'll probably have about 4 or 5 point game next game.
Okay. James?
So I hate to say I have 2, and honestly they're just kind of 2 I told you so's, but I think Jack Hanna is going to go off in the tournament.
You love Jack Hanna.
I don't love his shooting percentage, but I like him.
That's what I'm saying. As of recently, he started to put it in the goal. Like that's what I'm saying. So I want to say Jack, because he had what 4 points last game, four goals, something like that last game. But my other one is my other I told you so, dude. I thought the Chrome adding Cole Williams has been absolutely massive.
Yeah.
Huge. Like if you guys want some actual stats, he's only played 4 games with it. Last 4 games, he has 7 points in those 4 games. He's shooting 50%. And the reason why I was always big on Cole is because I think his game is more acclimated to the PLL. He is a very big guy who actually struggled at Hopkins because of the offense they were playing. But now he's in a place where you can play back down ball. He's a good shooter. I feel like the Chrome are finally realizing what he can do for them. And with Logan being such an off-ball player, I mean, you're going to have to pick your poison some games. And, you know, Logan's what, 6'4", 6'5", Cole's 6'5". I mean, these are big guys coming downfield. So he has 5 goals and 2 assists in 4 games. I feel like he's just going to keep going. And he's going to get big in the tournament. So hopefully, for sure.
I'm going with the homer pick. I'm going Kieran McCardle. We just talked about him. I think this guy has been the quarterback behind Sowers, really, of the Water Dogs offense. But the Water Dogs always late in the game turn to Kieran McCardle when they need something, when they need an assist, when they need ball movement, when they need someone cutting, when they need an outside shot. This guy does it all. I think against the Atlas, they're going to have to turn to him earlier. Usually it's like late in the 4th quarter or the 3rd quarter, but I'm expecting him to have a 5-point game, and they're going to need it, I think.
What's weird about him is like he is like the epitome of when coaches talk about it doesn't matter how hard you shoot, it's about the accuracy. I don't think I've ever seen him have a shot that I thought was going, plus 100. But he's so accurate where he puts the ball that it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, he's definitely not the strongest shooter on the team.
No,
but
when he comes around the goal, it's if it's bottom corner, it sits at the bottom corner.
Yeah. Accuracy wise, he's great.
I mean, he's still in my MVP talks, so I like that take.
Bryce, who do you got?
Yeah, I'm kind of like James. I feel like I have two guys that I'd like to say. I think if the Whips are going to take it all again this year, I think Chanachuk's going to be the guy they ride. I mean, that doesn't feel too far off, which is kind of a safe vanilla pick. But I mean, Chaney's just their guy. Like he's always their go-to guy for the Whips. And I just feel like come playoff time, like his role on that team just becomes, exaggerated even more. But
those 3-pointers are so big. They're so
yeah,
big.
yeah. I'm gonna go with the Archers though, just hoping that if the Archers are gonna make a run, I really think like what I saw last week with playing Connor Fields down at attack, I really believe that if the Archers are gonna make a run, it's gonna be because they're getting production from Connor Fields down on attack, and it's gonna be. Yeah, it's gonna obviously everyone knows like if the Archers going to make a run, it's going to be because someone not named Schreiber or Ament is going to be making a majority of the plays, just because teams are going to come out and limit what those two guys do. But I do think Connor Fields is that guy. I think he's ready to do it. I think he knows what his role can be on that team. And I think he's just so dynamic no matter who you line him up on with that attack line. I think it's going to ride on die on him or Matt Moore, really. But I'm taking Connor Fields here.
So, Bryce, I thought he's not lining up at attack. I thought he's going.
Was he running through the box?
I thought
last week he was running mostly down. He was staying down on attack, or they were running him in through the box and then going down to attack with short stick on.
It's the latter. You're right. They're running him through the box, but he's still playing down low. You're right.
Yeah,
you're right. That's what they did. Okay.
And I think that's where they're just putting. I think they're keep playing with him and Matt Moore and those guys, like who's playing where and things like that. But I mean, we talked about it before. The less and less we see Will Manny out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
I just think, like I said, I think if they're going to make a run, it's going to be because Connor Fields. I really believe that.
That's hard about Connor, man. Is like when he's not shooting well, he'll shoot until he does. And so
he just and that's where it's like, again, we talked about before. It's like the Archers have the tendency to sit back and watch someone go to work, but like Connor is that dynamic where like he will draw off-ball defenders off of Ament or off of Schreiber enough for those guys to then make a play, whether it's shoot or make a feed to the backside. But I think Connor in that sense is more dynamic than those two other guys because I feel like he just requires so much attention where he's just going to back you down and make you slide to him. Otherwise, he's going to beat you one-on-one with a creative shot.
Yeah. He also puts defenders in limbo because like you start to go and he fakes behind the back, then you start to go, then he gets, he's really good at keeping defenders.
It's everything that the Chaos are encompassed into one guy, right? And that's what I think makes Connor Fields so dynamic is that you can get away with not sliding to Ament or not sliding to Schreiber or sliding early to one of those two guys. But Connor Fields, you got to make a commitment. You got to get the ball out of his stick.
Here we go. Yeah. We'll see, man. We'll see. All right, let's hit the playoffs.
All right, well, let's talk about these games. We've got 3 games coming to you next Saturday, September 3rd. First one we got Chrome Chaos. Bryce, let's start with you. Who do you like in this one?
What do we got?
I know we literally just talked about the Chaos being able to show up on any given day. And I do think this will be a close game. I think the Os will show up for sure. But I'm going to ride the hot hand. I'm going to ride Chaos here, or Chrome here. I'm going to go back on my early season pick, and I'll take him at least in the first round here. I just think the Chaos are struggling to find the chemistry that they had last year, and I think what the Chrome is able to do on offensive end will just be able to just keep the Chaos chasing. They'll be a step behind for a majority of this game, from what I believe.
Man, we got to put these two together, man. Bryce saying, the Chrome's offense is going to give Chaos fits, and then right after say, I mean, the only game that's going to get out of hand is Archer's Chrome. Because
I've come a long way, boys.
What a difference a regular season makes. The number 2 seed Chrome. My lacrosse mind wants to say Chrome, honestly, because I think on paper and on the field they're a better team. But just for my psyche, I'm going to take my boys. I think we get hot in the first round because we've been here before, and Sam's laughing for some reason. So I guess he's pretty confident against the Water Dogs. But I'm gonna take my Chaos. So what's so funny then?
I thought you were going to be reasonable and take the Chrome, but
Okay. You know, this is all recorded. This is all recorded. Just remember that.
Sam, who you like?
I like the Chrome, but I agree with Bryce that this is going to be very close. It's going to be. I think it's going to be like the Chaos Atlas game that we just saw. It's going to be like.
I think a 2-pointer could be the difference. You know, like it could just be one of those games, like a 2-pointer late in the third or something.
Yeah. Don't let Newman loose.
Yeah.
Don't let him loose.
That'd be tight.
Yeah. All right, Matt, what you got?
It would be the most Chrome thing ever to have this season of just shock the world and then lose to a team with 2 wins in the playoffs. I could see it happening.
Bryce like that.
I could see it happening.
That would very much be.
Just put me in a blender at that point, boys. I wouldn't know what to do.
So Matt, what you got?
I could see that happening, but I have to go Chrome here. They're so much better on paper. I agree with Bryce. I think chemistry wise, they're clicking, and the Chaos are not, and that's what it's going to come down to. I absolutely agree. I think this is a 1, maybe a 2-goal game. It's not going to be a blowout, I don't think, but I'm going Chrome.
Yep.
All right.
Samuel, second game we got Archers Redwoods.
This is another tough game.
Yeah, this one's tough.
They're all going to be tough. It's the PLL.
Both teams just found their stride. You know, like a week. Go ahead, Zach.
I think if there's going to be a game, this is definitely hitting the over, in my opinion. This is going to be, I think, over 15 points each. This is going to be a high-scoring game.
You think each team scores over 15?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The way Kelly and Gittleman are like just inconsistent, I think offenses are going to take advantage of that this game. And
best takes of the year.
I think that Glazner's his injury is
huge.
It's gonna be huge. And James, I know you asked like maybe at the house, but if you expect him to play with a partially torn Achilles, like what we're talking about, like, you know, playoffs, are you going to go in? I don't think we'll see him, like, because then he's just a liability on defense that you'll attack, and that'll be their weak point. So, but I don't know. Maybe we do see him in there, like the way Baptiste kind of fought through his insane injury against the Chrome that 1 week.
That's true.
So I don't think I think it's pretty low possibility, but he might be in there. But, dude, I think the Archers have the offensive firepower, even though they might not be the most consistent, like organized offense. Like, dude, they have, you know, like we were saying earlier, you're gonna have to put a shorty on Tom Schreiber. Like, it's gonna fall that way, and yeah, like when that happens, you know, they're gonna score.
Correct.
Correct.
So
That's confirmed.
So the Archers.
So yeah, I have the Archers, but it's gonna be like the game we just said. I think it'll be a close game, maybe by 2.
Yeah. Wow.
This tournament needs a Cinderella team. It needs a comeback story. I said it probably 4 weeks ago that the Redwoods should punt on the season.
You did say that.
Yeah, looked significantly better. So my theory is, and this is absolutely confirmed. I've spoken with sources. The entire Redwoods team listened to that episode. It started a fire in their gut, like James after Thai food.
Yep.
They came out swinging.
Yep.
I'm taking the Redwoods. I'm taking the Redwoods. I think this is
wow.
I agree with Sam. It's gonna be very high scoring, but I just think the Redwoods match up on paper with the Archers better than any team right now. There is an asterisk. If Glazner does not play, I'm taking Archers.
Ooh.
Sure.
But I think all 3 of these games are going to be close. I mean, the margin of victory has been pretty much a 1-goal game last month.
Minimal, yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm going Redwoods. Sorry, Bryce.
I like that. I think that the Glazner thing isn't as far as like you know, phically like lacrosse wise. He's their communicator. He's their inside. Like, so I guess that now falls on Kelly, who I don't know if he's that guy, which is kind of tough.
Fall on Apple.
Yeah, I mean, but like, his job is more like shut down.
Yeah. He's not the.
He's telling everyone, "I'm first, you're second, you're go." Like that's like what he does. I think the goalie matchup is going to be huge in this, just like Sam said. But I think the other thing is the Archers have to contain Rob Pennell because he has looked like old Rob Pennell. So I'm actually going to ride the Redwoods train. I think they got hot right when they should have. So I'm taking Redwoods in this game.
Bryce?
Wow. Wow.
I think
Bryce is feeling betrayed
right.
over here.
Yeah, that's another big game.
I'm gonna take the Archers for a couple reasons here, and I do think it comes down to a couple different battles. I do think first and foremost, like the Woods are really struggling in net. They're really struggling in net, struggling to find consistency. Really,
there we go.
Like, I think both guys are very capable. I think they just haven't had the consistency that they would like over the course of the year, and I think if the Archers are going to expose anything, I'd like to say that would be it. I think all of those weapons that the Archers have the potential to go off. I do think the Woods have the edge in the face-off game, though. I just think, like we talked about before, I think TD is starting to find his mesh here, and I think he will take advantage of Ignacio here and get the better of him. I don't know that makes the difference in this game here. But I agree with you. I think the two main things here for this game, in my opinion, are ideally it's probably going to be Hasek versus Pennell, and how well Hasek holds up in that instance. But also, I think what the shooting percentage is for the Archers over the course of this game. I think that could really make a difference here. I do think it could come down to a 1-2 point goal, like we talked about, but. I will say this, I'm looking at the stats here. Of the 3 games that they've played this year, Archers have won 2 of them, and they've all been pretty high scoring. The first game, Archers won 10-9. Second game, Archers won 15-12. The last game, the Woods, in the playoffs last year, Woods beat Archers 16-12. So definitely, like you said, Sam, both they have the potential to blow up, and this game could get real spicy real quick. I'm gonna take the Archers. I'm like you, James. I'm gonna ride and die with my boys.
Got it.
Die by the sword, but I think the Apple thing here, if he's not playing, ideally, I don't know how the Woods would try and stop whoever Apple would have been lining up on.
Glazner, but yeah.
Glazner, sorry.
I got you. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be good. This is going to be a really good game.
So, yeah, I'm taking the Archers. I'm going to ride with my boys.
Love that.
I respect it. Last game we got Atlas Water Dogs. James, lead us off here.
You know who I'm taking.
Who you taking?
We're the Dogs, man. No, I think they win. I think if somebody can name a defender that has checked Sowers more than one time this year, I'd love to hear it.
Spoiler, you can't.
Correct. And I think I've brought up this guy once or twice, but I think Jack Hanna plays really well. So
I would love that. Bryce?
No, I think he will. So I got that.
Yeah, I think Trevor Baptiste plays a big part in this game. I think he probably gets a point here too, which could swing the game. I do think these are 2 relatively consistent teams over the course of the season here. But I'm gonna go Atlas. I'm gonna say that I think the Atlas weakness is their midfield, like we've talked about. But I think Chris Gray and Jeff Teat put on a show. I think they're gonna put on a show.
Yeah, we'll see.
Samuel?
I mean,
we know who you're picking. Let's just
ride my bulls, baby. Horns up. But this game does scare me because last time we met them, you guys beat us in overtime, 16-15. Bullshit.
Because the Water Dogs are really good. That's why.
They are. I'm not saying they're not.
They are though.
But I think, like the game we just talked about, I think this is going to be another high-scoring, very close game. I think might come down to overtime again too. We might see an overtime game to end the first weekend, but overall. I like the face-off battle. Like I definitely think we have take advantage of Baptiste here.
That doesn't matter.
It still matters.
No, it doesn't.
But you are right, James, that our offense needs to show, it needs to not have Baptiste wins be in vain, I guess is the best way to put it.
No,
Lacking words, but like
if he's plus 60% and you guys lose this game, that's embarrassing for a player.
It's embarrassing, absolutely. And our to date kind of inconsistent midfield play, we need to figure that out. I think Caspiel will be an asset to rely on. I'm praying and hoping that we see a Romar too. Who knows? Because that's always up in the air. But other than that, I'm feeling confident. I always feel confident in our defense. I think we have one of the best SSDMs in the league with Rexroad, right?
Hey, Logan. Rexroad's the best defender.
I get those two. They look just alike. It's fucking weird.
All Lax players look alike. It's fine.
They're just bro.
Yeah, I'm feeling confident. I think we'll get the dub and then face the
With Cannon's like outside shooting percentages, do you still feel confident?
Yeah.
Do you know who Connor Kelly? Never mind. Go ahead, Matt. Go ahead, Matt.
He's the bouncers this week.
There's gonna be a lot of bouncers. Big bouncers.
Look, Atlas are the better team in just about every area. They're better at face-off.
Yeah.
They're better at defense. They're better at attack.
Kind of.
They played one of the worst halves of lacrosse I've ever seen against the Water Dogs in the first half. They had like 5 penalties. They had turnovers out the ass, and they still only lost by 1. But that being said, took my dogs in a wager last time.
Yeah.
It was a big fat winner, Sam. We're running it back. $10, my dogs with Atlas.
Virtual handshake. Got it. All right.
That was your left hand. It doesn't count.
Regardless, whoever wins this, I feel sorry for you because I don't want to play the Snakes.
We're not going to talk about that.
I don't
wanna play the shit out of the Atlas.
I don't want to play the Whips. I'll say that.
We're not talking about it.
I'm taking the Water Dogs in this one. I feel confident, but so not even just because it's my team that if we win have to play the Water Dogs, but just for TV and like watching games, I'm so mad that two of these teams are going to get eliminated by the semis because whoever wins this game is probably not going to beat the Whip Snakes. But I think Water Dogs Atlas are the 2 best teams behind the Whip Snakes.
I think the Water Dogs have the best chance to beat them.
So I'm so mad that the bracket just worked out this way because I would have loved to have seen the Whip Snakes play one of these teams in the championship.
Yeah.
It would have been great.
I mean, yeah, okay, that's fair.
It's not going to happen, but I'm running with my dogs, man. So I'm feeling good.
If someone beats the Whip Snakes next round, you're saying they're the champions, like that's championship game, and the next game is like
correct. Yes.
Okay.
There's no one on the other side of that bracket. It's probably going to be Chromes. Let's say Archers. Sorry.
I don't know if I can help.
I mean, again, you're talking to someone who told the Redwoods they should punt the season 4 weeks ago.
You did say that.
I've been telling listeners to fade my bets. My brother talked about this past weekend because I have him put in my bets for me just for geographical purposes. But I think I've lost like 18 in a row. So I'm telling you, whatever I say,
do the opposite.
You're better off just betting money on the opposite. So at this point, Redwoods are your champions.
I just can't like unequivocally say if the Whip Snakes were to lose, that team is definitely the champion. I can't help on that. And I have teams in the other bracket that I
mean, but also like what we've seen in past years too is it's also about the run you make.
It is.
And let's say Atlas beats Water Dogs. And then the following week you beat the Whip Snakes. You've knocked out probably the 2 best teams in the bracket. So you're the hottest team right now. So I think that plays a big mental factor as far as besides who's the most talented team is. Who's the team that's just running through this bracket right now? I
mean, but I also feel like people love hearing that kind of story, and it kind of omits the fact that there have been teams who've made that exact same run and ran out of gas. It happens all the time.
That's true.
Like happens in March
Madness. Most entertaining game of the weekend. What do we think?
Of the playoff weekend?
Yeah, the first playoff weekend. Most entertaining.
Our Dogs Atlas, easy.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think that or Archers
Redwoods being a close second though.
Yeah,
it's going to be a fun game, but I think Atlas Water Dogs.
I think Archers Woods could be like that Woods Atlas game that we watched, James, when we were in Asheville, where it was just
15 to 16. That was crazy.
Just absolutely.
I still think
that's
that was
game of the year, right?
Yeah,
that was
game of the year.
Game of the year. Yeah,
I think it was.
Chill. The Water Dogs were down by 2 with like a minute to go and came back and won. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, chill. I mean, it was cool, but
That game was crazy.
It was cool.
Remember? Okay, whatever.
all right.
Entertaining though, I think that
For
would
entertainment value. Okay.
I could see that, yeah. All right, well, that's all we got for this week. We probably will not have an episode next week because there's no games. But Bryce, thank you again for joining us. You're a man of honor for coming back.
Thank you for allowing me on after how poorly I had my hot takes in the preseason. So.
It's all good, man. It's all good. We all have bad takes, but
yeah,
you've redeemed yourself.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, well, that's all we got. So make sure you guys are following us online, and we will see you all in 2 weeks.
Peace.